What's up, Death Dolls? Thank you for joining us here on yet another installment of Makeup and Murder, the channel where beauty and blood collide. I am Nikki Elliott Nelson.
I'm Mocha Pennington.
And I guess we're here doing this shit. The theme to today's show is Angels of Death. So we are covering stories by individuals who are supposed to be in the healthcare field. They're supposed to help guide you back to health and help you out and be, you know, good friends in your journey of health and wellness. But unfortunately, these individuals took a turn for the worse. So it's been a while since we've been here, yeah?
I know it has.
How was everyone's Thanksgiving? Let us know in the comments down below. Hope that you ate until you couldn't move anymore. I know I did.
Yeah.
I ate until I was just about stuffed. So that's great.
We always forget to tell you guys that this is a bi-weekly show.
Yes.
We're coming to you bi-weekly,
right?
honey.
That means every other week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but you know, I feel like the length of these, you know, may be enough to carry you through.
Let's hope so.
One thing that we wanted to say, how's the audio this week, Death Dolls? Is it better?
Is it a lot better?
We've been hearing your feedback that you wanted improved audio, and we think we got the fix. So let us know in the comments down below. So I want to kick off this week's story. And before I do, you guys know that we each bring you health, wellness, beauty tips that really, you know, kind of just do it for us. As you guys know, I have been a big supporter of Curology. It's really just changed my life. It's elevated the game. It has made me fall so deeply in love with my skin that I can't even put it into words how amazing it's been.
That girl,
it
honey.
is. Curology is literally that girl. But I've been using a new product, and as much as I love Curology and still do, I want to give her her own time to shine. So this week's tip is less of a beauty tip and more of a wellness attempt. Hey, we're putting on a show here. It's less of a beauty tip and more of a wellness tip. So as you guys may or may not know, I have what I describe as a fussy urinary tract. It is just... It's never satisfied. She does.
It's a fussy one.
She's very fussy. I can't have coffee or caffeine of any sort.
Oh, no.
Soda is not great. Spicy foods, and you know how I love my spicy foods. And you know, it started somewhere around the time I was on like a lot of antibiotics for my face. And the antibiotics didn't work, but I'll tell you what they did do, or what I believe that they did was left me with a urinary tract that is often troubled and not happy about much.
She has a troubled past.
She's a troubled soul. She really, really is. At least that's around the time that I could remember the problem starting. So I was like discussing these issues with a friend, and she was like, oh my God, I have the same problems. You know, constant pressure in the urinary tract, always feels like you have to pee, and then when you do go pee, there's not very much there to speak of.
God.
Yeah, and it's just not very fantastic. And you know, the doctors, they always like want to test you for a UTI, and it's just like, go ahead, sis, have at it. I'm telling you, I don't have one. And then the second thing they test you for is an STI, and it's just like, well, honey,
what's that?
A sexually transmitted infection. I think they used to call them STDs, but they switched it over.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like, honey, if I got an STI, I ain't got none of the fun to show for it. So you just check. And it's never those, but one thing that she did recommend to me was something called D-Mano. So that, as you can see, I've made my way through a first bottle.
You sure did.
I am on my second bottle now, and
different brands.
There are two different brands, because the first one, they're absolutely the same thing, or they're supposed to be the same thing. And I tell you what, they really have just changed the game for me. I know for me, nothing else worked. It is not always great feeling like, you know, you got something going on and you don't have anything going on and you can't figure out what it is, and a urologist couldn't tell me what it is. I had the little CAT scan thing where they put you in that big circular dingy thing. That cost $600 that I never want to talk about again, and nothing was to come of it. But this, you know, this has really changed the game for me. It absolutely works. If you look on Amazon, the reviews are fantastic. No one can ever seem to tell you what it is that might be going on, but everyone said, despite what it is that's going on, because none of us know what it is, some strange phenomenon that is just suddenly started affecting certain parts of, it's just some of us, a doctor can't tell you what it is, but I tell you what, D. Manos did the trick. And I know that this was a game changer for me. After years of living in almost constant discomfort and like being like, oh, you can't eat that, you can't touch that, you can't do this. I feel some pain and discomfort going on. It's like
this doesn't sound good.
No, it's not great
at all.
But this, I don't know, it works. I like it. So it's D. Manos, that's D-MANNOSE. Now, I will tell you, I have to buy mine online because CVS doesn't know who she is. CVS has no clue. CVS is like, what is that? What's going on? But I got mine from Amazon and it seems to be working fantastically. So if you guys are having symptoms that mirror that and you don't have a UTI and you don't have anything else going on, doctor can't tell you what it is, give D. Manos a swirl, a spin, a try.
Twerk on her.
You know, and for me, I felt almost instant relief after the first day of taking it. So I just want to put the word out there. Maybe it'll work from you because I know if you're going through something similar, you needed the relief. You deserve the relief.
Which brand's better than the ones you tried?
You know what? They both work just the same. They both work just the same. And it's not very expensive. I think I got 120 vegan/vegetarian capsules for about $13. You take 3 a day, full glass of water, and then you can drink all the alcohol and have all the caffeine.
And the coffee.
And the coffee you want. Treat yourself, boo. D. Manos. Okay. So we're doing stories about angels of death. And I must admit, you know, I like to do stories that have a little bit of nuance to them, have something exciting. And so we're working, obviously, when you think angels of death, you think doctors and nurses. But for some reason, my mind was drawn more to nurses than doctors.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find male nurses that had interesting stories to tell. Well, you guys know that the percentage of male nurses versus female nurses is like male nurses, boop, female nurses, boop.
Yeah.
So I already wasn't working with much, you know? And then I just could not find one interesting I could find stories. I found 1 or 2 of male nurses who were like angels of death, but there wasn't anything that gave the story some pizzazz, something different, right? A little umph. So Mocha came through and saved the day and was like, well, here's a story that I was gonna do. I nixed it for the one that I'm working on now. Maybe you wanna try that one. And so I was like, okay, at this point, I'll try any damn thing because I am just bored to high heavens with the material that I'm working on right now.
No, we usually go in like not really knowing like what each of us are doing, but in this case, I kind of know about that story, but like
you dropped it pretty early on, right?
I kind of know what's happening, but not really.
And I tried to cover an angle that I don't think was particularly well covered because I always find like, to me, what makes a story interesting isn't always what makes it interesting for someone else.
Yeah.
And so I'll go through and I'll say, well, there's the story right there. There's the interesting part. How can I expand on that? So I tried. So let's talk about the story of Kathy Wood. Starts with Kathy Wood. Doesn't end that way. So it is winter 1987 in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh, that's where my boyfriend Nathan's from.
That's where your boyfriend Nathan's from, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Kathy Wood is a new housewife and she isn't exactly like good at it. She's not necessarily bonding with her new daughter. She finds motherhood to be boring and significantly underwhelming. Yeah. And in an attempt to breathe new life into his wife, Kathy's husband, Ken, encourages her to take a job as a CNA at the Alpine Manors nursing home. Kathy takes the job. It's likely that it was, she was like thrilled at the opportunity to like be out of the house. She's like, thank God, get me out of this house. So she took the job. And she finds out that the Alpine Manors nursing home has a core group of nurses. They're like really tight knit. They're sort of like the heartbeat of the nursing home. You know how every job has like that in click and they sort of make the job go round, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's, that's how this place was. And so it just so happens that a lot of the women in this core friend group identified as lesbian. And so they spent a lot of time at the gay bars because, duh, a girl wants to have fun. You know what I'm saying? Now, Quacky. Kathy quickly identified that these girls were the it shit around the manor, and not one to be left out, she quickly joins the crew. Now, that is a move that changed her entire life. She went from bored housewife to pillow princess with a purpose, seemingly overnight. Now, Kathy absolutely adored the attention that she received, and before long, she started a zesty affair with one of her co-workers by the name of Gwendolyn Gale Graham. What a name with a purpose, right?
I like the name Gwendolyn.
I like it Gwendolyn too. I couldn't imagine like naming someone under the name of like 30 Gwendolyn.
Yeah.
But
Gwen.
Well, exactly. So she has one of those names that you can age up,
Yeah.
So you could start with like, oh, my name is
upgrade.
Gwen, right? And then as soon as you turn 25, you could say, my name is Gwendolyn.
Okay.
It's got a little something to it. I like what she did there. I really do. Now, it's said that Kathy was able to communicate with Gwendolyn like she never was able to communicate with her husband, Ken. And it wasn't long before news of Kathy and Gail's relationship began to ripple through the town of Grand Rapids.
Ooh,
No,
taking up by storm. Painting the town red.
Well, painted something. Painted something. No, we're not from a small town, but we went to school in a small, it would be considered small, right? So, like, stuff like this, I mean, it does travel.
Yeah, the girls talk.
Certain community, like the girls talk, only because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you move to a town that has nothing but a Walmart, and you tell me what you do for fun. You know what I'm saying? Got a golf course, a Walmart, a golf course, a Walmart, and what else does it have? A CVS.
Okay.
There you have it.
Some fast food chains.
Some fast food places, right? But the word gets around.
It sure does.
So, of course, at this point, Ken is humiliated. Ken, Kathy's husband, right, is like humiliated. And people say this is around the time that Ken started to notice really peculiar things about Kathy, like her proclivity to manipulate. It's been said that Kathy would have women call the house and pretend to be ex-girlfriends of Ken while she would listen in on the other line. I just wonder, like, what was she trying to accomplish with that? Like, what was your end game?
Yeah.
What were you trying to have done?
She can start a fight with them.
For the purpose of, so she could leave the house.
Yeah, so she
could start a fight and leave. That's clever.
Well,
facetious. Clever. Now, it's unclear why she committed these behaviors. But on that train of thought, she seems to be that she. Oh, what am I saying? It's. I don't know if I'll cut that or I'll leave it in. I'll probably leave it in. More natural, you know. It's unclear why she committed to these behaviors, but on that train of thought, seems to be that she liked to cultivate an environment of chaos and destruction that she could reign supreme over. So, you know, sometimes when people are like unbalanced or like not happy, they like to create like rifts in their people in their peer group, so that way they can like be at the top of the chain. Because for them, it feels like, you know, they're the only ones who knows what's really going on, or they were able to affect change in so many other people's lives. It gives them like a sense of like fulfillment and meaning, which is like, join a gardening club,
a book club, girl.
Find something happy to do. This is unnecessary. It's not needed. So in August of 1986, Kathy asked for a divorce. Now, I say asked, and that's putting it lightly, because she demanded a divorce.
Well,
she demanded. She was over it. She was out of it. She said, listen, honey, I'm a working girl now.
Okay.
I don't need this. So shortly after, Ken collected their daughter and moved out of the house, and Kathy's attitude was one of relief rather than remorse.
I mean,
She was like, good riddance.
Good riddance, honey, bye.
I'll see you when I see you. So it was believed the reason that she didn't even care, she didn't even flinch, is because Kathy could now divert her time and attention to her newly found lover, Gwen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Gwen is an interesting character herself. She's a unique soul with a bit of a troubled past. Now, Gwen grew up in Tyler, Texas, and she was also the subject of what I'm going to call tough love. Her father thought that too much attention from her mother would spoil her. So, for the most part, she lived out her early years with little to no affection from her mom.
Oh.
Yeah, that sucks, right? Now, her dad also thought that the salt of the earth approach to raising Gwen would be for the best. So, she spent her early years on a farm where she would routinely watch livestock be slaughtered for the purposes of food. Here's the thing, like, your children are yours to raise however you want, but just like, my idea of a great time is not watching all of my, because these little kids, they make friends with the animals. Like, they think that they're friends. I personally, just for me, don't want to see my childhood friends get slaughtered off.
I don't want to see my homegirls get God.
And now look at little Piggy Sue. She's baking.
Okay.
She's baking. And whenever the food was brought to the table, like the dad.
Like, here's your girl Shaquan.
Here's Shaquan, honey. Right there. Eat up. I used to have these friends. I think I remember it correctly. Like, they raised chickens and the grandmother would like kill the chickens.
Mm-hmm.
And then after she would kill the chickens and cook it and like eat, like the girls would like go outside and be like, where's so-and-so? I don't remember the name of the damn chickens. I'm sorry.
Betty.
Where's Betty? You just ate her, honey. How traumatizing is that? How is that for traumatizing people?
And
I don't
how
know.
can she tell them apart?
I have no
The
idea.
chickens. I mean, maybe they're...
Well, because
if you're around them a lot, they have their personalities
and
everything.
kind of like know who they are.
Yeah.
So at one point, I guess Gwen's dad ordered her little brother to go and kill the family pet, a little dog, right? Because I guess the dog had like barked at a horse and it had caused the horse to like bray, I guess that's what they call it, or neigh, something. And the rider got kicked off of the horse. So Gwen's dad ordered her brother to kill the family pet, which also, it's a choice, not necessarily one that I would make.
Yeah, I don't either. That's
like,
sad.
fish gonna swim, dog's gonna bark.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that, capital punishment is the best choice there.
I wouldn't either.
But that's just me. No one asked my opinion. So Gwen later dug up the dog, removed its teeth, and like put the teeth in a little alabaster box that she would carry around with her all the time. She also saved the skull, which I don't get it. But I kind of get it because, like, maybe she wanted, like, a part of
the pet
to be, like, with her. I just feel like there's, like, more well-adjusted ways. Like, maybe...
Like its collar. Take its collar. Wear the little dog tag around.
Or if you have, like, a picture of it, put it in a locket, wear the locket.
Yeah.
But if you see pictures of Gwen, she doesn't strike me as a locket wearer. So that could be it. Now, it is said that Gwendolyn suffers from borderline personality disorder and a few other forms of psychopathy. Psychopathy? Sure. And she has psychopathy, and that she's chronically unstable. Now, her moods and interpersonal relationships were always in a constant roller coaster state. And upon examination, you could note that she had 31 different scars up her forearm. And she would routinely put out cigarette butts on her own skin in addition to other self-harming methods.
Oh my goodness.
So, there's always a story behind self-harm. And Gwen says that her father used to molest her. And so she says that she would self-harm in an attempt to make herself ugly. So he wouldn't want to do that anymore.
I heard of people doing that.
Yeah, it tracks. Bastard. It's almost if when Gwen and Kathy met, it was like the perfect storm for a disaster. Because though the two were close, their dispositions were described as very different. With Kathy being described as having a narcissistic and pathological personality, Now, a narcissist personality can be described as having little to no regard for other people, viewing them only as a means to get what you need from them. Mm-hmm. It could also be suggested that there is an inherent grandiosity wherein the rules don't apply to you. And Kathy was described as being much more sophisticated and manipulative, whereas Gwen was described as directly aggressive. So this apparently means that they were both deviant, but one more sophisticated than the other, which is really important because that means the ability to hide motives and behavior is better in Kathy than it would be in Gwen. And that's important because this will come into play later on in the story. So over the next 9 months, the two would work together in Alpine Manor. Initially, the staff thought pretty highly of the pair, although it was said that their bond was a bit jovial and inappropriate at times, considering the setting. Like, you're working in, the healthcare field, you're working with people who are like sick or unable to care for themselves. So, like, a matter of due respect is necessary.
So they're just like making out and stuff, or
like
being affectionate towards each other?
No, so here's the thing. They would, their attitudes could be described as condescendingly flippant. They would be spotted joking and pranking each other, moving parents from room to room so that the patients would become disoriented and other nursing staff couldn't keep track of where the patients were, and the damn patients didn't even know where they were. And it's just like,
you're fired.
This is a nursing home, not a playground, you assholes. Like, please get yourselves together, would you?
Yeah.
So it's like they were thought of pretty highly at first. They had that like close-knit bonds and everybody was like, this is great. You guys are working great together. This is fantastic. But then, things went just like a little bit too far because they can't get their shit together. You know what I'm saying? They started acting a fool and playing pranks. There's a line, you know what I'm saying, between professional and pain in the ass. And so they were kind of pain in the ass.
It sounds like it.
So one day, out of nowhere, Gwendolyn packs it up and moves back to her hometown in Tyler, Texas. In the months leading up to her move, Gwen and Kathy had apparently split up, and Gwen had begun seeing another woman, a move that Kathy later told Gwen that she would make her regret for the rest of her life.
Oh my God.
So shortly after Gwen's move, Ken, her husband, remember, called local law enforcement and informed them that his ex-wife admitted to him that she and Gwen, so Kathy and Gwen, were responsible for the murder of 5 patients at the nursing home that they worked at. So Kathy had apparently informed Ken that while they worked at the nursing home, she and Gwen had committed the murders. In Kathy's words, Gwen had become aggressive and angry, and after killing their first victim, Gwen had become increasingly angry and forced Kathy to help her kill more patients. Kathy says she was forced to play lookout as Gwen went on a murdering spree that lasted months. Kathy said that she played no part in the murders and she was just scared for her life. So, now, detectives described Kathy as being extraordinarily convincing. One investigator stated that Kathy was very manipulative. While other investigators were trying to fit the pieces together, he thought that she was not telling the entire truth, stating that describing her personality was like describing a chameleon. She could be whatever she needed to be to accomplish whatever she was trying to accomplish. She could be sweet, passive, and victim-like, but at the same time, or whenever the situation called for it, she could also be curt and brutal. When given a polygraph test, Kathy fails miserably.
Oh my.
So, nevertheless, the detectives decide that they're gonna put a little heat on Gwen. So, she had bad check charges from a couple of years ago in Tyler, Texas, where she lives. So that gave law enforcement enough traction to get a search warrant.
Yeah.
So, when they first meet up with Gwen, detectives say that Gwen is like 5'2", she's polite and meek. Not at all what Kathy had been describing her as. They said that Gwen agreed to talk to police at the station while they executed the search warrant. And while executing the search warrant, police found nothing that linked Gwen to the crimes. which the detectives say they were a little bit disappointed because Kathy was saying that she had all of this different kind of evidence. She had correspondence with Gwen that was able to like implicate her in the crime. She said that Gwen and Kathy, she said they would keep like keepsakes, like little souvenirs from each of the victims that they had. And they were really, you know, so she was talking this big talk, like, I've got all of this stuff.
I got the receipts.
And it turns out there was nothing. So while they are interrogating Gwen, she states that she had nothing to do with the murders at the Alpine Manor. And she said she wasn't present at the time of the murders. All that she could say is she was somewhere in the building, given the times that were lined out. She was like, yes, I was in the building, but I wasn't present for those. She also said that Kathy has a sick mind and would say anything, which in the background is sort of kind of corresponding with what some of the detectives are thinking is happening. Now, when asked about her relationship with Kathy, she said everything was fine at first and then things turned dark. So apparently, and I wrote mention the restraints if you want to. I think this is an interesting part of the story, where apparently one year for Halloween, Kathy dressed up as one of the patients at the Alpine Manor.
Oh my God.
And she donned sort of one of these restraints, I guess. I guess sometimes it would restrain the patients. She donned like one of the restraints as sort of like part of her costume. And then later, when they're like being intimate, Kathy whips out the restraint and starts using them as part of the sex act. And so Gwen was just like, well, this is going a little far.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Gwen states that she got tired of Kathy's constant mind games and manipulating people.
I can understand that.
I mean, wouldn't that be like, I'm exhausted.
That would be very exhausting.
Like, but I feel like we've all been around a person who like constantly lies and plays mind games, and you get just so tired of being around it that it's just like,
I'm not hanging out with that.
Remember
girl,
we had that one friend, like when we all started hanging out heavily, and we had that one friend, and like we were hanging out for like months and months, and then one day we were like, does he lie?
He was like, we started out, I was like, well, maybe just a little bit sometimes.
And then like the more comfortable we got, because I didn't want to tell you,
Yeah.
because I thought that you were going to tell.
Me too.
And you didn't want to tell me because you thought I was going to tell. But like the more we started like getting into this conversation, it went from, well, he just lies. So he embellishes the truth. And by the time the conversation was over,
like,
like,
he's a liar.
He's a liar.
I can't stand it. Don't believe nothing that comes out of his mouth.
Don't believe shit. He's a liar. And that is when this friendship was born.
Okay.
That was our first secret that we told each other. And we kept it for years, except for we just kind of...
We didn't use no names, though.
We didn't use any names, so it's still, you know... He plausible deniability. He could still deny it to this day.
And he would.
So she's tired of she's tired of Kathy's mind games. She also says that Kathy became like abusive and manipulating. Somewhere in there, Gwen started having an affair with a different nurse, and Kathy was not having that at all. And she told the other nurse, like, I will have Gwen put away for the rest of her entire life. So Gwen was like, damn. So she moves back in.
Yeah.
She moves back in with Kathy, like, here it is.
Yeah.
Which I think also sort of implies some sort of guilt on Gwen's part. Because if you're getting threats like that from someone and you ain't did shit, I personally be like, make my day.
Okay.
Make my day. What are you going to do?
Let's see.
What are you going to do? I don't know what you're talking about, you crazy loon. But go ahead. Go for it. So I think the fact that she was willing to play ball to some degree with Kathy implies a certain level of guilt, no matter how little I think of Kathy. And I don't think much of her. I promise you that right now. So, where are we? Now, when asked to take a polygraph test to support her claims, Gwen, of course, agrees. Can we talk about polygraph tests a little bit? Because you can't, as far as my knowledge, you can't submit a polygraph in court.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of one of those pseudosciences that
I've
isn't
heard
completely
about
supported by science, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know why so many people agree to take them. Like, my first thought is like,
they
don't hold up in court. So my thing is, you want me to take a polygraph test? I mean, I can, sis, but here's the thing. If I take it and it proves that I'm telling the truth, it ain't gonna hold up in court. If I take it and it proves that I'm lying, you can't use it in court. What's the point? I don't understand. I'm not taking that damn thing.
I mean, I heard some people, they like, I don't know if this is true or not. I heard it when I was like a kid. Like they used to like put like needles like in their socks. Like poke them. They'll like affect the lie detector test or the polygraph to make it seem like they're telling the truth and they're really lying.
Well, I heard that they go off like your emotions, like so if you're nervous or this, that, and the other. But here's my thing. No matter if you're no matter if you're innocent or guilty, you got this thing strapped up to you and you know the implications on the other side. You're going to be nervous regardless.
I would.
You're going to be nervous regardless of the situation. Yeah. So, I don't know.
I'm always nervous every time I have to take one.
What are you on, like your fourth, fifth one by now? So...
JK.
At this point, totally kidding. Totally kidding. So she's asked to take a polygraph test. She agrees, and the results are inconclusive. And with no other evidence to support the case, the police are ready to completely drop it.
Yeah.
But in a last-ditch effort to crack the case, police question Kathy one more time. Now, this time, they preface their questioning by saying, I know that you're failing the polygraph test because you aren't admitting that you actively participated in these murders. And that's why you're failing the test, because the test can pinpoint that piece of data and extract it, which, by the way, is a lie. Like, they're not that sophisticated.
So they're lying to her.
Yeah, they're basically lying to her, right? And Kathy adamantly denies everything. 3 days later, however, Kathy calls law enforcement and willingly admits that she took part in the murders. She stated that they were killing patients in such a manner where the first letter of their first name would spell out the word murder. So, now that piece right there, if you could take it back to where we stated, when you analyze their personalities, Gwen is not sophisticated enough. They say that she's low functioning, right? So a person who is low functioning doesn't function on a frequency to have those sort of thought patterns. This is, by the way, I know not enough about psychology to be making these things or statements or claims. This is information that I'm getting from someone else. But apparently someone who is low functioning doesn't think on a frequency to even like, what's the word for like when you're like colluding, right? They don't think high enough to do that. Okay. So investigators were like, well, if this did happen, if this is a thing, you participated more willingly than you're saying right now, because Gwen wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
How they know? Psychology, I guess. Now, when given a polygraph test the second time, including the new information, it was determined that Kathy was being truthful. A medical inspector was then prompted to exhume 2 of the 5 bodies of the alleged victims. And upon doing so, the medical inspector could find no proof that either patient had been murdered. However, the forensic pathologist changed the cause of death on the death certificate from natural causes to murder on the strength of Kathy's word. What is going on here?
Yeah.
They just told you that they could find no just cause to assume that any of these people were murdered, but on the strength of Kathy's word, Kathy, the same people that police tell you is manipulative and conniving and backstab, all of these things, were taking her word to change the death certificate, and ultimately what happened was they were able to land a conviction. Prosecutors struck a deal with Kathy. If she pled to conspiracy to commit murder, her sentence would be significantly reduced. Gwendolyn is now serving life in prison. She was convicted for the murders. She's serving life in prison. Kathy was actually released January 1st, 2020.
My goodness.
If there's
She did it.
So the thing is, like, I'm not going to say I was there. I'm not going to say, like, I know.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling, like, We have a Pinky in the Brain situation. And because Gwendolyn, like, here's what I don't like. It would appear, I don't state this as fact because I don't know the people, but it would appear based on the research that was so exquisite that I did, it would appear that Gwen was just one of those people who didn't take into account, like, she responded how she felt about a situation. Mm-hmm. She didn't take into account how other people might perceive it. She was just right, wrong, or indifferent, here it is.
Yeah.
It seemed like Kathy was a little bit more pensive and manipulative and knew how people would perceive certain situations and was able to change her emotional state and how she presented herself in order to get things accomplished.
Yeah.
And it seems like, I think they were both down for the cause.
Yeah.
I will say that.
I believe so as well.
I will say that they were both down for the cause. I think that Kathy probably orchestrated a lot more than she's saying that she did. Or if they weren't down for the cause and both committing the murders together, I think Gwen at least knew to some degree what was happening. Which, I mean, that's a crime in and of itself.
Oh, it definitely is.
But it's not murder. So at the very least, Kathy is the more dubious of the two, and I actually found myself feeling bad a little bit for Gwen because it feels like, to some level, she was duped. Yeah. Obviously, they're both pieces of shit.
Yeah. I mean, they both did something.
Right. They both did something.
I feel like both of them were, like, in on the murder.
I feel like they were, too.
Yeah.
And you know what they say, there's no honor amongst thieves. So after it was all done, Kathy was like, oh, yeah? You gonna leave me? And she lived true to her word. What did she say?
She sure did.
She said that she was gonna have Gwen put away for her the rest of her life if she ever left her. She left her, and what happened?
She got put away.
Homegirl's rotting in jail.
She sure is. That's sad.
And that is the story of the murders at the manor. Bitch. I hate them. I hate them.
They're not very good people.
They're not very good
horrible
people.
Women.
Yeah, they're both awful. They are. So, you guys, we are going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we are going to kick off with Mocha's story. Hey, Death Dolls. Hope you guys are enjoying Makeup and Murder. If so, check us out on Tea Time, a YouTube channel where we talk about YouTube drama in all of its dirty little essence. Link in the description box. Okay, guys, back to the show. All right, Death Dolls. We are back from that well-deserved break. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to get into another story.
But before I jump into the story, I need to tell you about a few products.
Ooh, what do you got for us this week?
Now, I was originally going to just talk about One Size powder. I don't know if you can see that. Now, this damn powder, because people don't really talk about powders too much, but this powder, it claims to, like, blur your skin, smooth over texture, a miracle worker.
Does it work?
It sure the fuck does, honey. I mean, it's not a miracle worker, honey, but she does it. She does it. $30.
Now, is that a good price for?
I mean, it's a little, like, high end.
Is it?
But I recommend that.
I'm going to ask you the hard question. Now, I always see you use the one with the orange lid.
Airspun.
Okay. How does it compare?
I mean, it's better than Airspun.
It's better than Airspun?
I use Airspun to bake, honey, because this is $30.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to bake with that. Like, $30.
Right.
Airspun's like $5. I use it to bake.
Baking is when you put it on and you leave it there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You put it underneath the eyes and you're doing the eyeshadow, catches all the fallout.
Okay.
I ain't doing it this powder.
Okay.
It has like a cute little, I'm not going to open it up because if I drop it, I'm going to be mad as hell. But it has like a little thing, a little component. You just pop that open because, you know, sometimes if you open up your thing and the powder just gets everywhere.
It happens to me all the time.
It has like a little component, cheeky little component. I like it.
Okay, cool.
Y'all, $30.
And it's worth it. $30 well spent.
It comes in 2 colors, translucent, which really isn't. It's like has like a beige tint to it.
Okay.
And then for the deeper skin tones, it has there. This is for the light, the fair, the medium, the tan.
Gotcha.
The other one's for like the deep and the dark.
Gotcha. All right, cool.
I recommend it.
All right. What else? I see you came with like a bag of tricks. What else you got for us?
I sure did. So Lunar Beauty Done popped over to our place, honey. She said, hi.
Look how cool that is.
Isn't it?
Oh, and it's all like textured. That's cool.
So cute.
This is like I think it's some of the cutest packaging that I've seen.
I'm wearing, she's on my eyes, y'all.
Okay.
Nice. These damn colors. Like, I fell in love with the color story. You can do like neutrals, which I was gonna do, and I was like, no, let me do the blues, honey. The blues and the gray. No, I can't really like read the names.
Let me see. What do you have on?
But I'm wearing this on my lid,
and that's called. Oh damn it! Hold on. That's called adamantium, and that's what it's called.
Something like that. I use smoke in the crease.
Okay.
I blended that out with dusk.
Nice.
I used lagoon underneath the crease line.
Gotcha.
And then I use night sky in the outer corners, honey.
That is so intricate. So you got a lot going on here.
This palette's real. I mean, I only used it once.
Yeah,
but so far so good, y'all.
Yeah, it's looking really good.
It was 48. I think 48 or 44. I think it was.
Now is that? I'm gonna ask the hard questions. I see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15. Mm-hmm. Is that good? For
I believe so, especially for the price and the quality, honey.
All right, cool.
And on my lips, I'm using the liquid lip from Lunar Beauty. It's called Zaya. I love this. It's a cute little nude.
What nice name!
I believe that's his name. I believe it's his dog.
What a cute name! Look at the top. It has this little diamond thing in it.
Smell it now, honey.
Okay.
Pop that bad bitch open and smell her.
You just got this today.
Mm-hmm.
If I taste it, it's gonna taste like shit.
I mean, it doesn't.
It doesn't taste like it smells?
I know.
Okay.
I tasted it earlier. Because I was curious.
Because I'm the idiot that'll be like, you know. All right, cool. Now, how do you like it so far?
I love it. It's comfortable. I don't even know I'm wearing it.
It looks really good and it's smooth. It doesn't seem like, you know how some of the ones like they crack when you smile or whatever? This doesn't look like it's doing that at all. Why? They do. This one doesn't look like that.
I mean, I put like Carmex on my lips before I do it, so it doesn't like act a fool. But yeah, this is cute. I would get it too. I think this is $18.
Okay.
Go ahead, y'all.
So far worth it?
Yeah, it's my first time trying with one of his liquid lips. I'm in love with that.
Nice. So definitely worth the buy.
Definitely.
Okay, well let's see if this story is worth the tell. Let's see. This is the story that she chose over the last one that I just did. Mm-hmm. So let's hear it.
I want to tell you about Kirsten Gilbert, y'all.
Okay.
Kirsten Gilbert was born on November 13th, 1967. So isn't she like a Scorpio?
November is Scorpio, but so is late October, I think. But I think she's a Scorpio.
In a small town of River Falls, Massachusetts, to Richard and Claudia Sticklin. She had a younger sister, but like in all my research, she was never named. So I'm just like, well, I mean,
they're like, who cares?
She's probably like, thank God.
Thank God. You know, she's like, keep me out of that shit.
Okay.
I ain't got shit to do with that shit. Embarrassing.
I mean, I would be.
I would too. I would change my name and move.
Honey. Intelligent and a good student, Kirsten was considered to be pretty unpopular among her peers. Because of her popularity, she began to receive a lot of attention early on.
Okay.
And she thrived when she was the center of attention, honey. She loved it. Some say she was like addicted
to attention.
To attention, yes.
Okay.
And like the older she got, like the more attention she craved. And it was like never enough. Like
that's never a great sign.
Needed attention.
That's never a good sign.
Honey.
I wonder what that is, because like attention is great, but sometimes don't you just want to fade into the background?
Well, like, honey, don't notice me.
Right. Like when you go to Walmart and you see someone that you haven't seen in 10 years, and then I always get so happy when you both make the cognizant decision to ignore each other.
Yeah, like, oh,
and you're just like, thank you so much.
We just give a little nod and keep on going.
Thanks. Got my prune juice. Thanks a lot. See, you've got your pawns. That's great.
As a teen, Kirsten went to drastic lengths to get attention, such as like lying and manipulating. She had a history of faking suicide attempts with boyfriends if they like wanted to break up with her or they didn't give her enough attention that she believed she deserved. Also,
not a great sign.
No.
I mean, listen, men leave.
Okay, I have such a teenager.
Men leave, and you know what I say? Good riddance.
Honey.
Thank God. In fact, if you're gonna do it, can you do it before the holidays? I prefer not to parade you around my family and have to buy you gifts So can you leave like before the holidays?
Please.
You know, like we'll get together after February. We'll dump each other before October. Just seems like a good plan.
No, she even lied to her friends, telling them that her mother was an abusive alcoholic to garnish their sympathy.
So her mother wasn't a
no, she wasn't.
Spoiler alert, she wasn't?
No, okay. She wasn't at all.
Great.
People say like most of everything she said was to put her in the spotlight. Pretty much.
Also not a great sign.
No.
I just feel like this went to shit early on. Huh.
Well, after graduating high school, she enrolled at Bridgewater State College, where, while at college, she was ordered psychiatric treatment by college officials in the aftermath of another fake suicide attempt.
So basically they were like, sweetie, you can't keep doing this.
Yeah, they made her seek out
maybe you get some help.
Professional help.
Okay.
And then she transferred school. She said, oh no, honey, y'all ain't about to do me.
So rather than get the help,
no,
she was like...
she got the help.
Okay.
But, like, after she got the help, she transferred schools.
She said, you're not going to embarrass me in front of it. Because, you know, a person with that personality, it's just like, you've embarrassed me in front of everyone. I got to leave. New town, new name, new hair, new me.
Okay. She became a registered nurse in 1998, but before earning her nursing degree, she worked as a home health aide.
Okay.
While on the job, she scalded a mentally handicapped child with hot bathwater.
Wait, so she like burned them?
Yeah, she like made the water hot and she put the child in there.
Why would you do that?
Honey.
That don't make no sense.
None at all. None at all. In 1988, she married Glenn Gilbert. She obviously changed her name then.
Right.
In 1989, she began working as a nurse at a veterans hospital in North Hamptons, a small, quiet town with like a low crime rate and murder rate. Christian was described as a confident nurse and was admired among other nurses. She was often sought out when there was an emergency. She always volunteered for extra work. She was always front and center whenever there was a code, which is like a red alert whenever a patient stops breathing.
This isn't going to a
They'll
nice
call
place.
like a red alert or a code.
I see where this is going. Yeah.
To onlookers, Christian's marriage to Glenn was ideal. They were loving and affectionate to one another, and they were said to be doting parents to their two boys. However, a different story took place inside that damn house.
Ooh, tell me everything.
Glenn felt like he had to walk on eggshells when he was around Kristen because he never knew like what was going to set her off, what was going to make her mad. She once like chased him around the house with a butcher's knife. He had to like hide in the other room, and she was like, calm down. Yeah.
You're not about to have me hide in my own damn house. Now I pay half the bills here.
Okay.
So you're gonna leave me the hell alone.
But he knew like something wasn't right with her. But he was like, he believed in marriage, and he was like, I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna make this marriage work. Christian was growing bored with marriage and the lack of attention she was receiving from her husband. So she began an affair with a hospital police officer, which I don't know what's the difference between a security guard and a hospital police officer.
Maybe he was a police officer that strictly worked at the hospital.
Maybe. I wasn't able
We'll pretend.
His name was James Perel.
Mm-hmm.
Christian made their relationship no secret, honey. They were spotted making out in the parking lot, affectionate, all throughout the hospital. And then James was like, or not James, but her husband Glenn was like, thank God. Filed for divorce.
He said, you let me off easy, Toots. Thank God.
Thank you, honey.
Thank God for infidelity. I'm out of this shit.
The affair was like a rush for Christian. She loved it.
But like, what happens whenever it's not an affair anymore?
Like most rushes, it died off.
Yep.
And she wanted something else, honey. And that's whenever a long string of deaths befell the Veterans Hospital. Okay, I can't pronounce his last name. You may try to help me, honey, if you can.
Ooh, I'm looking at it. Let me tell you, baby. I don't know where this is going.
I was trying to practice it earlier, but I was like, it's a Russian.
Jagodowski.
I think that's right, too.
Jagodowski.
Stanley
Jagodowski. One of my few talents. Pronouncing things.
He was a 66-year-old war veteran from the Korean War, and he was a former truck driver. His charts and lab results showed that, like, he was completely fine. He was soon going to be discharged.
Yeah, it was only 60. But 66.
Not long after Christian left his room, he coded, and he died of cardiac arrest. On February 8th, 1995, the second suspicious death happened. Now keep that in mind. Suspicious. Keep that in mind. Henry Houdon. He was 35 years old. He was a veteran, and he was admitted to the Veterans Hospital for the flu. He was diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic following a head injury while he was in the Air Force. Within the hour of a doctor checking Henry's charts, a code is sounded. Henry went into cardiac arrest, but he was revived. And all the staff they were celebrating. They were so happy. It was like, oh, we got him back.
Yeah.
And then Christian was like, I want to be so happy. And the doctor was like, why? She was like, well, he's a schizo. And that was a red flag right there, honey.
So she was saying like he's a schizo, meaning like, who cares if he comes back?
Yeah, who cares? He's a schizo.
Oh, okay. She's a joy.
Henry went into cardiac arrest 3 times that day in a 6-hour period, and they couldn't revive him on the 3rd time.
Just yell help. Yell help. Hey, get this lady out of my room. Every time this lady's in my room, something bad happens.
In February of 1996, Kenneth Cutting, a 41-year-old husband, father, and Army vet, was admitted to the Veterans Hospital for treatment. Although he had dealt with illness in the past, his heart was completely fine. Christian asked her supervisor, it's like, well, if he dies by 8, can I get off work early because I do have a date tonight?
I feel like that's also a sign.
Yeah. And then later that night, he died of cardiac arrest.
At 7:42. No, just kidding. That last part. Just kidding.
Once again, under Christian's care, a 4th suspicious death occurred. Edward
Squira. Oh, that one's hard. Squira. Sorry,
y'all. He was a World War II vet and was admitted to the Veterans Hospital for seizures due to alcohol withdrawals. Without any warnings, Edward died of cardiac arrest.
So all of these are cardiac arrests?
All the suspicious ones. Other nurses had started noticing, like, death started to follow Christian around, but she was, like, regarded. It was, like, a really good nurse. Regarded, yeah, it's like they loved her. So it was like, well, they, like, passed it off. It was like, they called her, like, the angel of death. Like,
as a joke.
Yeah, this joke.
But they always say 50% of every joke is the truth.
But 3 nurses, however, they weren't charmed by Kristen, honey, Miss Kristen Gilbert. They began to suspect that the increase in deaths by cardiac arrest weren't by happenstance and started to investigate, honey. By checking a hazards box, they found 3 empty bottles of epinephrine. It is a synthetic, nearly undetectable heart stimulant. An overdose of epinephrine will end in cardiac arrest. They reported their findings to their supervisor and was like, I think that Christian
we really don't want to say this, but
I think that she may be attached to these murders. An investigation was opened. Without any hard evidence, investigators began to cross-reference the deaths that happened around like Christian's shift, and they started noticing a pattern. Like she was on the day shift, deaths. She was on the night shift, deaths. So we're like, honey, they started to look into her.
You got some explaining to do.
And her boyfriend, Jace Perel, honey, he said, he started hearing about the investigation and they started suspecting Kristen. He said, I can't do it. So in Christian fashion, she said, well, if you leave me, I'm going to kill myself.
Because that's what she does. It's called a pattern.
And Christian began to notice that her fellow nurses no longer wanted to speak to her and other staff members avoided her. Panicked, Christian did the only thing that she could do. On September 26, 1996, the Veterans Hospital received a call. There's a staticky, deep voice on the other end telling them that there was a bomb in the building, and they had 25 minutes to get out, or she's going to see him in hell. Of course, there was no bomb. What Christian didn't know was that she was under surveillance, honey, since the start of the investigation.
Yeah.
The surveillance officer watched Christian make the call from the payphone, and that payphone was tracked back to the call made to the Veterans Hospital. And after a judge granted a search warrant, they were knocking on Christian's door.
Like, so come on, little mama, we got some things to discuss.
She was described as being dumbfounded when the police showed up at her house and was a complete denial that they had any reason to be there. But she was like, sure, it's my house. I ain't even gonna find nothing. I don't even know why you're here. And while searching her house, a detective saw a jacket that she had worn to the payphone. And he went in that damn pocket and pulled out instructions for a voice-changing device. And then another officer, while searching her children's bedroom, found a talk boy. Y'all remember talk boys from back in the day?
Was that the thing from Home Alone?
Mm-hmm.
I knew it. That thing from I wanted one of them damn talk boys so damn bad. Hey, Mass Mama wouldn't get it for me.
Like, honey,
I was mad as hell. But that's okay.
They found it.
Because my daddy got me a Nintendo.
So they found that talk boy. And then they also found a journal compiled of various suicide notes over the years, and a medical book with a page on epinephrine dog-eared. But there was like this...
Circumstantial.
Yeah, still not enough.
Yeah.
For the bomb threat, however, she received 15 months in jail. While serving her sentence, Kristen attempted suicide and was brought into psychiatric care where she was diagnosed as having a borderline personality disorder.
That's come up. That's their second.
It sure is.
Person with BPD.
With her in prison, like the investigation went on, but they really didn't have like the evidence. So there was like, well, let's exhume the bodies of the people, which is really hard, like to tell the families, like, well.
But I feel like sometimes the family's like, hell yeah, dig her up.
Yeah.
Do whatever you gotta do.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, families, everyone out there. I know that casket funerals are more expensive, but if there are ever like strange circumstances around death and people start having folks cremated and quickly, red sign. Red flag, I'm just saying.
Well, they exhumed the bodies so they can find like any traces of epinephrine in their system.
Yeah.
They found lethal doses in their system. Now, it's widely believed that Christian didn't like intend on killing the patients.
What the hell you think it was gonna do?
She wanted them to code so she can be the center of attention, so she can be the hero. She can revive them.
Except for the one that she needed to go on a date. Him, she wanted.
Well, at the beginning.
Yeah.
But like after a while, because keep in mind, suspicious death.
Yeah.
So after a while, she just became like, they're just like a thing.
So she just started killing them.
Yeah. To get like
the attention.
Yeah. Like, because she loved attention. Whenever her boyfriend James, the police officer, that hospital police officer, he was trained to like assist. Like whenever there was like someone coded, he was there to assist.
Yeah.
And she would like flirt with them while he was trying to revive people. She would flirt with them. She's like, oh, I love how your muscles move whenever you do that. One time, this girl, she literally leaped onto like a patient that was coded so she can show off that she was wearing like garters underneath her police uniform. Like she loved attention, honey.
Oh, her nursing uniform?
Yeah, her nursing uniforms.
Also, too, like, I'm gonna write you up.
Okay.
You can't fucking wear that here. Get back to your house and change into something appropriate.
Hell.
This isn't a fucking brothel, it's a hospital.
Be a little more professional,
Be
honey.
a little bit professional. Shit.
But during her trial, James testified that Christian had confessed to one murder to him. It was later revealed that as a teenager, Christian often made violent threats to others and once assaulted someone with a knife. Staff members at the Veterans Hospital believe that Christian had been the cause of more than 300 medical emergencies and up to 60 deaths. And she was said to like show like no emotion during like her trial. She was just sitting there with a stoic face. On March 27, 2001, despite pleading not guilty, because she, to this day, she says, I didn't do nothing. She was sentenced to life in prison. In 3, she filed for an appeal, but later dropped it after finding out that the prosecutors were allowed to pursue a death penalty.
She said, oh shit, never mind.
Never mind.
Never mind. They got death on the line?
She said, no.
Oh, never
not
mind.
Today.
I'm not into it. I'm not with it. I don't want no parts of it. What
that
a piece of
Kristen
shit.
Gilbert, the angel of death.
You know, I always wonder, like, these people... I know we've heard of BPD come up a couple of times, and BPD I don't know too much about. I do know that borderline personality disorder is what, in Girl Interrupted, I think that Winona Ryder's character suffered from BPD.
Yeah.
Outside of sort of the glamorization of it all, I don't have too much knowledge of what BPD is.
Yeah.
But you have to wonder, people who want... There are more positive, constructive ways of getting attention.
Yeah.
Like, it can't mean this much to you. Does it mean this much to you?
I mean, she thrived in it. Like, she loved it. And if the spot was on her, like, she shone.
Okay, so be an actress, a singer,
I mean,
dancer.
you would think.
You literally get paid for the spotlight to be on you.
She, went into the medical field, like, believing, like, she can be, like, the
heroine.
The nurse that, like, saved all the lives, which... I think that's what she was trying to do until they started to die. And she was like, well...
I mean, but the thing is, like, in the nursing, you can actually wait until there is a medical emergency.
Yeah.
Or go to a trauma hospital.
Yeah.
Literally, there are more productive... I could think about 30 more ways where she could have fulfilled the desire to get attention. Mm-hmm. Same with Kathy.
Yeah.
In the first story. Like, you don't have to kill people, sweetie. There are better options.
Go to a local theater, honey.
You can moonlight as an actress at your local theater. I mean, you could start a YouTube channel.
You can do that.
For Christ's sake.
Well, they didn't have YouTube back then.
You know what? Good call. Good call.
But she may have if they had.
I mean, there has to be a more... Could you think of what her content would be, though? Could you... anything for views.
Probably.
Anything for attention.
Probably.
Like, just the most...
She'd be like Trisha Paytas.
I'm not even sure if this audience will know who Trisha Paytas is. Don't waste your time. You're fine. You don't want to know. There are happier things that you could be involved in. Don't listen. We want to keep you in a good place. I'm not sure if this is exactly feel-good content, though.
Yeah,
it's not exactly a walk in the park, It's not great.
But we talked about Lunar Beauty, so...
Right. And we got some tips for urinary tract health in there.
Yes.
So we were able to really bring it home.
Silver lining.
The silver lining in all of this is Lunar Beauty is amazing. From what I can see.
Yes.
And urinary tract health. That is the silver lining in this big, humongous shit show. This is truly sad. And you know what? I think the beautiful thing here is, in all of these stories, the people were brought to justice.
Yes.
So they're not walking around hurting people anymore, causing,
except for Kathy. She got out.
The beautiful thing about... I had to find... Because sometimes
How
when
old
you
is she now?
She has to be in her 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, she was in her 30s in 1987, or her mid-20s in 1987. So, I'm not a mathlete, but she ain't a spring chicken.
Yeah.
I think the beautiful thing in Kathy's story, she was released. I mean, it kind of sucks for all of us, but you have to find a shining pillar of a moment. You've got to find something to just be like, okay, I can go to sleep and wake up tomorrow and not feel like the world is a terrible, shitty place. But Kathy was released January 1st, 2020, right into a global pandemic.
Yeah, she's in quarantine.
How's that, asshole? Still in quarantine. You're still locked up.
Pretty bad.
Still locked up, aren't you?
Where did she go?
They didn't tell you.
With no money or anything. Like...
Well, I mean, so here's the not so great part of it. A lot of people are released from prison. And here's the idea. Prison is supposed to be, the idea is you go to prison, you pay your debt to society, you come out. But we all know that the United States justice system or prison system is not exactly built to rejuvenate people, But then they get let out and they have no resources. They're institutionalized. They don't even know how to, they don't even know where to begin.
In the real world.
Yeah.
They've been locked up.
I mean, I feel like, rehabilitation should be more important in these situations. And if the idea is that you did your crime, you do your time, somewhere towards the end of your sentence, I think it would be better suited if people were rehabilitated and taught how to re-enter a normal functioning society.
Don't they do that with some people?
In some countries? Yeah. So there's a word, and I can't think of it, but whatever that word is, and I knew it at one point in time, but it means basically the rate at which people who are released from prison committed another crime and go back is like amongst the highest. And in some countries, like I want to say Switzerland, they actually, like, people go to prison. You're not treated like an animal. You're actually treated like a human being. A lot of them are like what we would consider like minimum security. So that means people are allowed to like come and go. They even have some programs in some countries where people can like furlough for the weekend and go and visit family and then like come back and finish their sentence and stuff like that. Recidivism. Their recidivism rates doing that are far less than ours are, and ours is more punitive. You know, we treat our prisoners like awful. And so it's just like, well, let's look at these things and let's determine what actually, if we are actually going to say that someone committed a crime that is worthy of having them re-enter society at some point, how are we preparing them to do this? Did not mean for that moment to happen. But it did. I'm just saying, because at some point, these people are going to come back into society with you and me, right? I want to be surrounded by...
I probably dated some of them.
Probably. And dated is putting it nicely. I'm just saying, like, don't you want to live in a society with people who have been, like, adjusted to live next to you rather than people who have been treated like animals, because then that's how they're going to treat other people.
Exactly.
You know, sometimes these people don't even know how to re-enter life. So the more you know. This is like reading Rainbow, but it's about crime, you know? We try to have like important life lessons built right in.
Exactly.
So, anyway, Death Dolls, thank you guys so much for joining us for a third installment. Hope you're really enjoying what you're seeing. Because we are honestly having the time of our lives doing this with you guys. If you guys have an idea for a story or a person or some people or
any feedback
or any feedback, please do not hesitate to leave that right down low in the comment section. And guys, we'll catch you on the next video. So remember, life's a blush and then you die.